lights go out, the stories begin. Night stories. Your nightmares become real.
I've worked the night shift at St. Mary's Hospital for 6 years, and I thought I'd seen it all. Blood-soaked gurneys, screaming patients, the occasional junkie trying to swipe morphine from the supply closet. But nothing prepared me for what started happening in the old East Wing. That place has been sealed off for decades, ever since the fire that killed 32 patients and staff in one night. They say it was an electrical fault, but whispers among the older nurses tell a different story. Something about a doctor who lost his mind, locked the doors, and let the flames do the rest. The wing's been boarded up ever since, a rotting husk of peeling paint and shattered windows, left to decay like a corpse nobody wants to touch. But we all know it's not empty. Not really. I'm a security guard, not a doctor or a nurse, so my job is to sit in the control room, watch the monitors, and make sure nobody's breaking in or sneaking out with hospital property. The pay's decent and the work's usually boring, which suits me fine. I've got a thermos of coffee, a pack of cigarettes I'm not supposed to smoke indoors, and a little radio that crackles with static half the time. The control room's a concrete box with no windows, just a bank of flickering screens showing every corner of the hospital. Most nights I'm watching orderlies mop floors or doctors sneaking naps in the break room. But the East Wing cameras, those are different. They're grainy, black and white feeds, and nobody's supposed to be in there. Nobody alive, anyway. It started 3 weeks ago, on a Tuesday night. I was halfway through a stale turkey sandwich when the intercom in the control room buzzed. It's an old system, wired to every part of the hospital, including the East Wing, though nobody's used it there in years. The sound was sharp, like a needle in my ear, a voice, distorted and hollow, saying, "Code Blue, Room 312. Code Blue, Room 312. I froze, my sandwich halfway to my mouth. Code Blue means a patient's heart stopped, but the East Wing hasn't had patients since before I was born. I checked the monitor for Room 312, expecting nothing but shadows and dust. Instead, I saw him. He was tall, wearing scrubs that looked too clean for the grime of that place. His face was blurred, like the camera couldn't focus on it, just a smear where features should have been. He stood in the middle of the room, head tilted slightly like he was listening to something I couldn't hear. Then he moved, walking out of frame toward Room 313. The intercom crackled again. Code Blue, Room 313. My hands were shaking as I fumbled for the radio to call my supervisor. But the line was dead. Not static. Dead. Like someone had cut it. I rewound the footage, thinking it was a glitch, but the tape showed nothing. No figure, no movement, just empty rooms. I told myself it was a prank, maybe some idiot orderly sneaking in to mess with me. But the East Wing's doors are padlocked, and the windows are boarded from the outside. Nobody gets in without a key, and I'm the only one with the set. I didn't sleep that night. I kept my eyes on the monitors waiting for him to show up again, but the screen stayed empty. The next night I was back in the control room, nerves shot, coffee tasting like battery acid. Around 2 a.m., the intercom buzzed again. Code Blue, Room 314. My stomach dropped. I switched to the camera for 314, and there he was, same scrubs, same blurred face, standing over the rusted frame of a hospital bed. This time I saw his hands. They were gloved, but the gloves were stained, dark and wet, like he'd been dipping them in something thick. He turned his head, and for a split second, I swear he was looking right at the camera, right at me. My mouth went dry and I couldn't move, couldn't blink. Then he walked out of frame and the intercom went silent. I reported it to my supervisor, Karen, the next morning. She's a no-nonsense woman. Been at the hospital longer than I've been alive. She laughed it off, said the old intercom system probably had a short, and the cameras were so old they picked up shadows and turned them into ghosts. "You're working too many nights, Tom," she said, clapping me on the shoulder. "Get some sleep." But I could see the flicker in her eyes, like she didn't believe her own words. She told me to keep an eye on it, but not to spread rumors. The hospital didn't need staff freaking out over ghost stories. Then the first death happened. It was Jenny, one of the night shift nurses. Sweet girl, always sneaking me extra coffee from the break room. They found her in Room 312, the same room where I'd first seen the figure. She was lying on the floor, her scrubs soaked in blood, her throat sliced open so deep her head was nearly off. The cops came, cordoned off the area, but they didn't go into the East Wing. Nobody did. The official report said it was a patient, some psycho who'd gotten loose with a scalpel, but I knew better. Jenny wasn't assigned to the East Wing. Nobody was, and the cameras outside the wing showed no one going in or out. I watched the footage from that night, over and over, until my eyes burned. At 1:47 a.m., the camera in room 312 flickered, and there he was again, the figure in scrubs, standing over Jenny's body. She was still alive then, crawling across the floor, leaving a smear of blood behind her. He didn't move, didn't touch her, just stood there, watching. Her mouth was moving like she was trying to scream, but no sound came through the feed. Then the screen went black for 3 seconds, and when it came back, she was dead. The figure was gone. I showed the tape to Karen, but she wouldn't look at it. "Faulty equipment," she muttered, her face pale. "We'll get it fixed." But she didn't call anyone to fix it, and I didn't push. I was too scared to push. The next night, the intercom crackled again. "Code Blue, room 315. I didn't want to look at the monitor, but my hands moved on their own, switching to the camera. He was there, standing in the doorway, his blurred face tilted toward the bed. This time, I saw something in his hand, a scalpel, glinting under the flickering fluorescent light. The blade was dripping, not with blood, but with something black and viscous, like oil. He walked toward the bed, slow and deliberate, and the camera cut out. The second death was Mike, an orderly who'd been at the hospital for 2 years. They found him in room 315, his chest carved open, ribs spread like wings. His heart was missing. The cops came again, asked the same questions, wrote the same reports. Patient with a scalpel, they said, but I knew it wasn't a patient. I knew it was him. I started dreading my shifts, but I couldn't quit. I needed the money, and some stupid part of me thought I could figure it out, stop it somehow. I started researching the East Wing, digging through old hospital records in the basement. Most of the files from the fire were sealed, but I found a few newspaper clippings. They talked about a doctor named William Carter, a surgeon who'd been working the night of the fire. He was supposed to evacuate the patients, but didn't. They found his body in the East Wing, burned to a crisp, clutching a scalpel. The article said he'd been screaming Code Blue over the intercom as the flames took him. I don't know if the figure I'm seeing is Carter or something else, but it's following the same path, room by room, night by night, and the deaths are following it. After Mike, it was Sarah, a janitor, found in room 316 with her eyes gouged out, her face frozen in a scream. Then David, a night shift doctor, in room 317, his throat crushed, windpipe collapsed like it had been squeezed by a vice. Each night I sit in the control room, watching the monitors, waiting for the intercom to buzz. I've tried unplugging it, but it still works. I've tried turning off the cameras, but they flicker back on. Last night it was room 318. The figure was there, standing over the bed, scalpel in hand, dripping that black ooze. The intercom said, "Code Blue, room 318, and I knew someone else was going to die. I don't know how to stop it. I've tried telling the staff, but nobody listens. They think I'm crazy. Or worse, they know I'm right and don't want to face it. The hospital's too busy, too understaffed to deal with a ghost story. But I can't ignore it. I can't leave. Not when I know what's coming next. Room 319. And I'm the only one left on the night shift who hasn't been touched. I keep my eyes on the monitors, my hands trembling on the controls. The intercom's quiet for now, but it won't stay that way. It never does. And when it buzzes again, when that voice calls Code Blue, I know I'll see him. The figure in scrubs, with his blurred face and his dripping scalpel, walking the halls of the East Wing, calling for the next soul to join him. The hospital feels like it's holding its breath tonight, the air thick with that sterile chemical smell that clings to everything. I'm back in the control room, my eyes burning from staring at the monitors for hours, my thermos of coffee long gone cold. The East Wing cameras flicker, their grainy black and white feeds casting shadows that seem to move when I'm not looking. I've got a knife now, a cheap folding blade I picked up at a gas station, tucked in my pocket like it's going to do anything against whatever's haunting this place. I know it won't, but it makes me feel less helpless, even if it's a lie. Last night was room 318. The intercom buzzed at 2:13 a.m., sharp and grating, like a nail dragged across my skull. Code Blue, room 318, that hollow voice said. The same one that's been calling out every night since this started. I switched to the camera, my hands shaking so bad I nearly knocked over my coffee. He was there, the figure in scrubs, standing in the doorway. His blurred face was tilted like he was studying the empty bed, the scalpel in his hand dripping that black, oily sludge onto the floor. The camera flickered, and for a split second I saw something else. Shapes in the shadows, writhing like they were trying to crawl out of the walls. Then the screen went static, and when it cleared, he was gone. This morning, they found Lisa, one of the night shift nurses, in room 318. Her body was sprawled across the floor, her abdomen sliced open from sternum to pelvis, her intestines spilling out like wet ropes. Her face was twisted, mouth open in a silent scream, eyes wide and glassy. The cops came again, same as always, muttering about a patient with a scalpel, but I saw their faces. They didn't believe it any more than I did. Nobody's been in the East Wing, nobody alive. I haven't slept in days. Every time I close my eyes, I see him. His blurred face, his stained gloves, the way he moves like he's gliding, not walking. I keep thinking about the old newspaper clippings, about Dr. William Carter and the fire. The articles didn't say much, just that he was a brilliant surgeon, loved by his patients, until that night. They found him in the East Wing, burned so badly his bones were charred, still clutching that scalpel. I can't stop wondering if he's the one doing this, if he's trapped here, reliving whatever hell he created all those years ago, or maybe it's not him at all. Maybe it's something worse, wearing his scrubs like a costume. I tried talking to Karen again today, practically begging her to do something, shut down the wing for good, call in a priest, anything. She just stared at me, her face pale, her eyes darting to the side like she was afraid someone was listening. "Tom, you need to stop," she whispered. "You're scaring the staff." But I saw her hands trembling, and I knew she'd seen something too. She wouldn't admit it, but she knows. She's been here long enough to know this place isn't right. The hospital's quieter now. The night shift running on a skeleton crew. Most of the staff have called out sick or just stopped showing up. The ones who come in avoid the East Wing like it's cursed, which it probably is. I can't blame them. I'd quit too if I could afford it, but rent's due and I've got no one else to lean on. So here I am, glued to the monitors, waiting for the inevitable. It's 1:58 a.m. now, and the intercom hasn't buzzed yet. That's worse somehow. The silence feels like it's building up to something, like the calm before a storm. I keep glancing at the camera for room 319, expecting to see him there, but it's just an empty room, the bed frame rusted and sagging, the walls stained with mold. I've started noticing things in the footage, things I didn't see before, faint scratches on the walls like claw marks and shadows that don't match the light. Sometimes I think I see faces in the corners, pale and distorted, but when I rewind the tape, they're gone. I've been reading more about the fire, sneaking into the basement archives when no one's around. The records are spotty, but I found a patient manifest from that night. 32 people died, 28 patients, 4 staff. The patients were mostly in critical condition, hooked up to ventilators or sedated, unable to run when the fire started. The staff who died were a nurse, 2 orderlies, and Carter. The reports don't say why he didn't evacuate them, why he stayed in the wing as it burned. There's a gap in the story, like someone tore out the pages that mattered. I found something else, too. A handwritten note tucked into one of the files, yellowed and brittle. It was from a nurse who worked with Carter, dated a week before the fire. She wrote about how he'd changed, how he'd started spending all his time in the East Wing, talking to patients who weren't there, scribbling notes about saving them. She said he'd been seen wandering the halls at night, calling code blue over the intercom for no reason. The note ended with her saying she was scared, that she thought he was planning something terrible. I don't know what happened to her, but her name wasn't on the list of the dead. Maybe she got out. Maybe she didn't. The intercom buzzes, and my heart stops. Code blue, room 319. The voice is clearer tonight, almost human, but it's not. It's too cold, too empty. I fumble for the monitor controls, my fingers slick with sweat, and switch to the camera for 319. He's there, the figure in scrubs, standing in the middle of the room, his scalpel raised like he's about to cut something I can't see. His blurred face tilts toward the camera, and I swear he's smiling, though there's no mouth to see. The black ooze drips from the blade, pooling on the floor, and I notice something new. Tiny shapes in the puddle, like fingers reaching up before sinking back down. I can't look away. My body's screaming at me to run, to get the hell out of this hospital and never come back, but my eyes are locked on the screen. He moves, gliding toward the bed, and the camera flickers again. This time, I see them. The shapes in the shadows, more distinct now. They're people, or they used to be. Their faces are wrong, stretched and hollow, their mouths gaping like they're screaming without sound. They're crawling out of the walls, their limbs bending at angles that shouldn't be possible, their fingers clawing at the air. The figure in scrubs doesn't react, just keeps moving, like he's conducting some kind of sick ritual. The intercom buzzes again. Code Blue, room 319. It's louder this time, almost a scream. I grab my knife, useless as it is, and hold it so tight my knuckles ache. I don't know what I'm expecting to do with it. Fight a ghost? But I can't just sit here. I check the other monitors, the ones outside the East Wing, and see nothing. No one's in the halls. No one's near the padlocked doors. But I know someone's going to die tonight. It's the pattern. Room by room, death by death. I think about calling the cops, but what would I say? There's a ghost in the East Wing and he's killing people? They'd lock me up in the psych ward. I try the radio instead, hoping to reach Karen or anyone still on shift, but it's dead again. Just like every other night this happens. I'm alone in this concrete box, trapped with the monitors and that voice. The camera in room 319 flickers, and he's gone. The room's empty again, but the shadows are still moving, writhing like they're alive. I switch to the hallway camera, and there he is, gliding toward room 320. My stomach twists. I know what's coming. I know I can't stop it, but I can't just watch either. I grab my flashlight and the keys to the East Wing. I don't know why. Maybe I think I can face him, or maybe I'm just tired of feeling helpless. The hospital's silent as I leave the control room. The hall's dim and cold. The East Wing's at the end of the corridor behind a heavy steel door with a padlock the size of my fist. My hands shake as I unlock it, the metal creaking loud enough to wake the dead. The air beyond the door is stale, thick with dust and something sour like old blood. The hallway's dark, the fluorescent lights long burned out. My flashlight beam cuts through the gloom, catching on cobwebs and cracked tiles. The walls are covered in scratches, deep and jagged, like something clawed its way out. Or in. I hear the intercom crackle overhead, even though it shouldn't work in here. Code Blue, room 320. The voice is so close now, like it's whispering in my ear. I reach the door to room 319, my heart pounding so hard I can feel it in my throat. The door's ajar, just enough to see inside. There's blood on the floor, fresh and glistening, pooling around a body I can't make out. I step closer, my flashlight shaking, and see its mark. One of the night shift orderlies. His chest is torn open, his ribs cracked like kindling, his heart gone. His eyes are open, staring at nothing, and his mouth is moving like he's still trying to scream. I back away, my breath coming in gasps, and hear footsteps behind me. Slow, deliberate, like someone's walking in my direction. I spin around, my flashlight catching nothing but empty hallway. But I know he's here. I can feel him like a weight pressing down on my chest. The intercom buzzes again. Code Blue, room 320. I run. My boots slap against the cracked tiles of the East Wing hallway, the sound echoing like gunshots in the suffocating dark. My flashlight beam jerks wildly, catching glimpses of peeling paint and those claw marks gouged into the walls, some so deep they look like they were carved with knives. My chest burns, not just from running, but from the air itself, thick, sour, like I'm breathing in the decay of this place. The intercom crackles overhead, that hollow voice slicing through the silence again. Code Blue, room 320. It's not just a sound anymore. It's a command, pulling me deeper into this nightmare even as every instinct screams to get out. I don't know why I'm still here, why I didn't just keep running past the steel door, out of the hospital and never look back. Maybe it's because of Mark's body, sprawled in room 319, his chest ripped open like a butcher's slab, his eyes still twitching like he was trying to tell me something. Or maybe it's because I know running won't help. Whatever's in this wing, it's not bound by doors or locks. It's been here longer than me, longer than any of us, and it's not done. I skid to a stop outside room 320, my flashlight shaking in my grip. The door's closed, but there's a smear of something dark on the handle, glistening like fresh tar. My knife's still in my pocket, useless, but I pull it out anyway, flipping the blade open with a flick that feels more like bravado than bravery. The intercom buzzes again, louder now, the voice almost gleeful. "Code Blue, room 320. I push the door open, and the hinges scream, a sound that makes my teeth ache. The room's a ruin. Rusted bed frame, shattered IV stand, walls stained with God knows what. The air's colder here, like stepping into a freezer, and my breath fogs in front of me. My flashlight catches something in the corner. A figure in scrubs, standing with his back to me. His blurred face turned toward the bed. The scalpel in his hand drips that black ooze, each drop hitting the floor with a wet splat, and I swear I see tiny shapes wriggling in the puddles, like maggots but wrong, too human. My stomach lurches and I grip the knife tighter, though I know it's no use against him. He doesn't turn, doesn't acknowledge me, but I feel his attention, like a weight pressing on my skull. The shadows in the room shift, and I see them again. Those things crawling out of the walls, their faces stretched and eyeless, mouths gaping in silent screams. They're closer now, their bony fingers scraping against the floor, reaching for the bed like they're drawn to it. I want to scream, to run, but my legs are locked, my body betraying me. "Who are you?" I choke out, my voice barely a whisper. The figure doesn't answer, but his head tilts slightly like he's considering the question. The scalpel twitches in his hand, and the black ooze drips faster, pooling into a shape that looks almost like a face, staring up at me. I stumble back, my flashlight flickering, and for a moment I see him clearly. Not blurred, not a smear, but a man. His face is burned, skin blackened and cracked, eyes sunken into dark sockets, but his mouth is moving, whispering "Code Blue" over and over, like a prayer. The shadows lunge. I don't know if they're after me or the bed, but I swing my knife wildly, slashing at nothing but air. The figure vanishes, and the room goes still, the shadows retreating into the walls like they were never there. My flashlight dies, plunging me into darkness, and I fumble for the switch, my hands slick with sweat. When the beam flickers back on, the room's empty, but the bed is different. There's blood on it now, fresh and spreading, soaking into the rotted mattress. I back out of the room, my heart hammering so hard I think it'll burst. The hallway's no better. The air's heavier, like it's trying to choke me. I hear footsteps again, slow and deliberate, coming from deeper in the wing. I don't look back. I can't. I run toward the steel door, my flashlight bouncing off the walls, catching more of those claw marks, some fresh, some crusted with what looks like dried blood. I don't stop to check. I just need to get out, to lock the door behind me and pretend this isn't happening. But when I reach the door, it's already open. The padlock's gone, the chain lying in a heap like it was torn apart. I don't have time to think about it. I stumble through, slam it shut, and lean against it, gasping. The control room's down the hall, my only safe place, but I know it's not safe anymore. Nothing is. I make it to the control room and lock the door behind me, my hands shaking so bad I drop the keys twice. The monitors are still on, flickering, casting their sickly glow across the room. I collapse into my chair, my eyes glued to the screen for room 320. It's empty now, but the blood on the bed is still there, a dark stain spreading across the feed. My stomach twists, and I switch to the other cameras, checking the hallways, the other rooms. Nothing, no figure, no shadows. But I know he's there, waiting. The intercom crackles, and I nearly jump out of my skin. "Code Blue, room 321. The voice is softer now, almost mocking, like it knows I'm listening. I switch to the camera for 321, and there he is, the figure in scrubs, standing in the doorway, his scalpel gleaming under the dim light. He's not alone this time. The shadows are with him, crawling across the floor, their limbs twisting like broken dolls. They're dragging something. A body, pale and limp, its face hidden in the dark. I can't tell who it is, but I know it's someone from the night shift. It's always someone from the night shift. I grab the radio, my hands shaking so bad I can barely hold it. "Karen, you there? Anyone?" The line's dead, just like always. I throw it against the wall, the plastic cracking, and bury my face in my hands. I can't do this anymore. I can't keep watching people die, night after night, while that thing walks the halls. But I don't know how to stop it. I don't even know what it is. I force myself to look at the monitor again. The figure's gone, but the body's still there, lying in the middle of the room. The shadows are gone too, melted back into the walls, but I can still feel them, lurking just out of sight. I zoom in on the body, my heart sinking. It's Rachel, one of the new nurses, barely out of training. Her throat's been cut, a jagged gash that looks like it was done with something dull, not a scalpel. Her eyes are open, staring at the camera, and I swear they're moving, like she's still alive, still begging for help. I can't take it anymore. I grab my flashlight and keys and head for the East Wing again. I don't know what I'm going to do. Confront him, fight him, beg him to stop. I just know I can't sit here and watch another person die. The hospital's silent as I move through the halls, the air heavy with that sour, rotting smell. The steel door to the East Wing is still open. Juno, the chain and padlock lying in pieces on the floor. I step inside, my flashlight cutting through the darkness. The hallway to room 321 is a mess of broken glass and dust, the walls scarred with those claw marks. I move slowly, my knife in one hand, flashlight in the other, my pulse pounding in my ears. The door's ajar, and I push it open, the hinges groaning. The room's empty, but Rachel's body is there, just like in the footage. The blood's pooled around her, soaking into the cracks in the floor. I kneel beside her, my hands trembling as I check for a pulse, but there's nothing. Her skin's cold, her eyes still wide, staring at nothing. I hear footsteps behind me, slow and heavy. I spin around, my flashlight catching a glimpse of Scrubs disappearing around the corner. I run after him, my knife raised, but the hallway's empty when I get there. The air feels alive, buzzing with something I can't name, and the claw marks on the walls seem to pulse in the light. I back away, my flashlight shaking, and head for the steel door. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I just know I can't let him keep going. Room 322's next, and I'm not going to let it happen. I lock the door behind me and head back to the control room, my mind racing. I need a plan, something to stop him. But as I sit down at the monitors, the intercom crackles again. Code Blue, room 322. The intercom's voice slices through the control room, that hollow, Code Blue, room 322, echoing in my skull like a death knell. My hands are slick with sweat, the knife still clutched tight, its blade catching the dim flicker of the monitors. I don't want to look at the screen for room 322, but my eyes betray me, darting to the grainy feed. He's there, the figure in Scrubs, standing in the doorway, his blurred face tilted like he's listening to something far off. The scalpel in his hand drips that black ooze, each drop hitting the floor with a wet, sickening sound, and I swear I see tiny hands, childlike, twisted, reaching out of the puddle before sinking back into it. My stomach churns, bile rising in my throat, but I can't look away. The shadows are worse tonight. They're not just crawling out of the walls anymore. They're moving like they have purpose, slithering across the floor, their eyeless faces turned toward the bed. Their mouths gape, stretched too wide, like they're trying to swallow the room itself. The figure doesn't acknowledge them, but he's not alone. There's something else in the room, a faint outline in the air, like heat rising off asphalt. It's humanoid, but wrong. Too tall, too thin, its limbs bending in ways that make my skin crawl. It hovers behind him, and I swear it's whispering, its voice blending with the static hum of the intercom. I'm done sitting here, watching this thing kill. I grab my flashlight, the knife, and the keys to the East Wing, my heart pounding so hard it feels like it's cracking my ribs. I don't know what I'm going to do when I get there. Stab a ghost? Scream at it? But I can't just wait for another body to show up on the floor. Rachel's dead eyes are burned into my brain, her throat torn open like a slaughtered animal. I can't let it happen again. Not to whoever's next. The hospital's a tomb tonight. The hall's silent except for the faint buzz of flickering fluorescence. My boots echo as I move toward the East Wing, the steel door looming at the end of the corridor. It's still unlocked, the chain and padlock scattered like broken bones. The air beyond the door is colder than last night, sharp enough to sting my lungs, and that sour, rotting smell is stronger, like meat left out too long. My flashlight cuts through the dark, catching on the claw marks lining the walls, some fresh, some crusted with what looks like dried blood, but I don't stop to look closer. I'm heading for room 322, and every step feels like I'm walking into a trap. The hallway's a maze of decay, tiles cracked, walls sagging with mold. I pass room 321, where Rachel's body still lies, the blood pooling so thick it's starting to seep under the door. I don't look inside. I can't. My flashlight shakes as I reach room 322, the door slightly ajar, a sliver of darkness spilling out. The intercom crackles overhead, even though the system should be dead in here. Code Blue, room 322. The voice is louder now, almost gleeful, like it knows I'm here. I push the door open, the hinges groaning like a dying animal. The room's a wreck. Rusted bed frame, shattered glass on the floor, walls scarred with those claw marks. The air's so cold my fingers ache, and my breath fogs in front of me. He's there, standing in the center of the room, his blurred face turned toward the bed. The scalpel's in his hand, dripping that black sludge, and the shadows are circling him now, their twisted forms skittering across the floor like roaches. That other thing, the tall, thin shape, is behind him, its outline flickering like a bad signal. I can hear it now, a low, guttural whisper, words I can't make out but feel in my bones. "Who the hell are you?" I shout, my voice cracking. The figure doesn't move, but the shadows pause, their eyeless faces turning toward me. My knife feels like a toy in my hand, but I hold it up anyway, my flashlight shaking in the other. The tall thing behind him shifts, its head tilting at an angle that makes my neck hurt just looking at it. The whispering stops, and the silence is worse, heavy and suffocating, like the air's turned to lead. Then he moves, not toward me, but toward the bed, his steps slow and deliberate, like he's performing surgery. The scalpel gleams, and I see the black ooze start to spread across the floor, forming shapes, faces, hands, eyes, before they dissolve into nothing. The shadows writhe, their mouths stretching wider, and I hear a sound like a scream, faint and muffled, coming from nowhere and everywhere. I step forward, my knife raised, but the tall thing turns, and for a moment I see its face, not blurred, but empty, a void where features should be, sucking in the light. I stumble back, my flashlight flickering, and the room goes dark. I slam the switch, but it's dead, and I'm blind. The only sound my own ragged breathing and that faint, endless scream. I fumble in my pocket for my phone, the screen's weak glow barely cutting through the black. The room's empty when the light comes back. No figure, no shadows, no tall thing. But the bed's different now. There's blood on it, fresh and spreading, soaking into the rusted frame. I hear footsteps behind me, slow and heavy, and I spin around, my phone's light catching nothing but empty hallway. I run, my boots slipping on the blood-slick floor, my heart pounding so hard I can't hear anything else. I don't know where I'm going, just away, out of this wing, out of this nightmare. The steel door's still open when I reach it, and I slam it shut behind me, my hands shaking as I try to jam the broken padlock back into place. It's useless, but I do it anyway, like it'll keep him in, like it'll stop what's coming. Back in the control room, I lock the door and collapse into my chair, my chest heaving. The monitors are flickering, the feed for room 322 showing nothing but static now. I switch to the other cameras, my hands trembling so bad I can barely press the buttons. The hallway's empty, the other rooms are dark, but I know he's still out there. I know he's not done. The intercom buzzes and I flinch, my knife clattering to the floor. Code Blue, room 323. The voice is softer now, almost a whisper, but it's worse somehow, like it's inside my head. I switch to the camera for 323, and he's there, standing over the bed, his scalpel raised. The shadows are thicker now, their forms more solid, their fingers clawing at the air. The tall thing is there too, hovering behind him, its void face turned toward the camera, toward me. I see the body before I recognize it. It's Karen, my supervisor, lying on the floor, her chest carved open, her ribs splayed like a dissected frog. Her eyes are gone, just bloody sockets, and her mouth is moving, like she's trying to speak. I gag, my vision swimming, and I realize I'm crying, hot tears burning my cheeks. I didn't even know she was in the East Wing. She wasn't on shift tonight. Or was she? I can't remember. Everything's blurring together, the nights bleeding into each other like the blood on the floor. I grab the radio, my hands shaking so bad I can barely hold it. "Someone, anyone, please," I shout, but the line's dead, same as always. I throw it against the wall, the plastic shattering, and bury my face in my hands. I can't do this anymore. I can't keep watching. Can't keep running into that wing like some idiot hero in a horror movie. But I know I will. I know I'll go back tomorrow night, because I'm the only one left who knows what's happening. The only one still stupid enough to try. The monitors flicker, and the feed for room 323 cuts out, replaced by static. I switch to the hallway camera, and there he is, gliding toward room 324. His blurred face is turned toward the camera, and I swear he's smiling, though there's no mouth, no eyes, just that smear of nothing. The tall thing's behind him, its void face pulsing, and the shadows are following, their twisted forms dragging something behind them. Another body, I think, but I can't tell who. I don't know how to stop this. I've tried everything, running, hiding, shouting at it like a fool. Nothing works. The hospital's emptying out, the night shift dwindling to nothing, and I'm alone with the monitors and that voice. I think about the newspaper clippings, about Dr. Carter and the fire, about the patients he didn't save. I think about the note from that nurse, her fear scrawled in shaky handwriting. I think about the claw marks, the shadows, the tall thing that's not Carter but something worse. The intercom crackles again. Code blue, room 324. I grip my knife, my flashlight, my keys. I don't want to go back, but I know I will. I always do. The intercom's voice claws at my nerves, that chilling code blue, room 324, slithering through the control room like a snake. My hands are trembling, the knife in one, flashlight in the other, both feeling like dead weight against whatever's waiting in the east wing. The monitors flicker, their sickly glow painting the room in shades of gray, and I can't stop my eyes from locking onto the feed for room 324. He's there, the figure in scrubs, his blurred face tilted toward the ceiling like he's sniffing the air. The scalpel in his hand drips that black ooze, each drop hitting the floor and squirming, forming shapes, eyes, mouths, fingers that twitch and dissolve. The shadows are thicker now, their eyeless faces pressed against the walls, their twisted limbs stretching toward the bed. And behind him that tall, thin thing, its void face pulsing like a heartbeat, its whispers a low hum that makes my teeth ache. I saw Karen's body on the last monitor, her chest split open, her eyes gone, her mouth moving like she was still trying to scream. I can't shake the image, can't stop hearing her voice from this morning, telling me to stop scaring the staff. She knew something was wrong, but she didn't listen, and now she's dead. They're all dead. Jenny, Mike, Sarah, David, Lisa, Rachel, Mark, Karen, one by one, room by room, just like the fire all those years ago. I'm the only one left on the night shift, the only one stupid enough to keep coming back. I don't want to go to room 324. Every fiber of my body screams to run, to quit this job and leave this cursed hospital behind. But my legs are moving, carrying me toward the east wing, my flashlight cutting through the dark. My knife gripped so tight my knuckles are white. The steel doors still open, the broken padlock a mocking reminder that nothing can keep him out. The air beyond it is heavy, rancid, like breathing in a grave. The claw marks on the walls are deeper now, some glistening with fresh blood, others crusted over like old wounds. My flashlight catches something new. Handprints, small and smeared like children's, pressed into the moldy plaster. The hallway to room 324 feels longer tonight, the tiles slick under my boots, the air so cold it burns my lungs. The intercom crackles overhead, even though the wires are long dead. Code blue, room 324. The voice is closer now, almost inside me, and I feel it in my chest, like fingers squeezing my heart. I reach the door, my hand shaking as I push it open. The hinges groan and the smell hits me, blood, decay, and something sharper, like burned flesh. The room's a slaughterhouse. Blood pools on the floor, thick and dark, seeping into the cracks. The bed's soaked, the rusted frame gleaming wet under my flashlight. He's standing in the center, his blurred face turned toward me, and for the first time I see something like eyes. Two dark pits, endless, pulling at me like a vacuum. The scalpel's raised, the black ooze dripping faster, forming a puddle that writhes with tiny, screaming faces. The shadows are everywhere, crawling across the walls, the ceiling, their mouths gaping, their fingers clawing at the air. The tall thing's behind him, its void face splitting open, revealing rows of teeth that glint like needles. I don't see the body at first, not until my flashlight sweeps the corner. It's Paul, one of the night shift janitors, his body slumped against the wall. His stomach's torn open, his intestines spilling out like a pile of wet snakes, his face frozen in a scream. His hands are clutched around something, a cross, small and silver, now smeared with blood. I don't know if he thought it would save him. It didn't. "What do you want?" I scream, my voice raw, the knife shaking in my hand. The figure doesn't answer, but his head tilts, and the tall thing's whispers grow louder, a chorus of guttural sounds that make my skin crawl. The shadows move, surging toward the bed, their fingers sinking into the blood-soaked mattress like it's alive. I swing my knife, slashing at nothing, the blade whistling through the air. The figure steps forward, his scalpel gleaming, and I stumble back, my flashlight flickering. The room goes dark, and I'm blind. The only sound my own gasping breaths and that endless whispering. I fumble for my phone, the screen's weak light barely cutting through the black. When it flickers on, the room's empty. No figure, no shadows, no tall thing. Just Paul's body, the blood still spreading, and those handprints on the walls, smaller now, like they're shrinking. I back out, my boots slipping in the blood, and run for the hallway. The East Wing's alive tonight, the air buzzing with something I can't name. The claw marks pulse under my flashlight, and I hear footsteps behind me, slow and deliberate, like he's following. I don't look back. I can't. I reach the steel door and slam it shut, my hands fumbling with the broken chain, trying to make it hold. It's useless, but I do it anyway, like it'll keep him in, like it'll stop what's coming next. Back in the control room, I lock the door and collapse against it, my chest heaving. The monitors are flickering, the feed for room 324 showing nothing but static. I switch to the other cameras, my hands shaking so bad I can barely press the buttons. The hallway's empty, the other room's dark, but I know he's there, gliding toward room 325. I know what's coming. It's the same pattern, the same sequence, and I'm powerless to stop it. I think about the fire, about Dr. Carter and the patients he didn't save. I think about the nurse's note, her fear scrawled in shaky handwriting, warning about his late-night wanderings, his code blue calls. I found another file last night, buried in the basement archives. A coroner's report from the fire. It said Carter's body was burned beyond recognition, but his hands were intact, still clutching that scalpel, the blade unmarred by the flames. They never explained it, just filed it away like it didn't matter. The intercom buzzes and I flinch, my knife clattering to the floor. "Code blue, room 325. The voice is different now, sharper, like it's laughing. I switch to the camera for 325, and he's there, standing over the bed, his scalpel raised. The shadows are thicker, their forms almost solid, their fingers digging into the walls like they're trying to tear them down. The tall thing's behind him, its void face pulsing, its teeth glinting. There's no body yet, but I know there will be. There always is. I grab my flashlight and keys, my mind racing. I can't keep doing this, running into the East Wing night after night, finding bodies, seeing things that shouldn't exist, but I can't stop either. I'm the only one left. The only one who knows what's happening. I think about burning the wing down, torching the whole place like the fire did all those years ago. Maybe that's what he wants, to finish what he started. Or maybe he's trapped, bound to this place, and I'm just another piece in his game. I head for the East Wing, my boots heavy, my knife useless in my hand. The steel doors open, the air beyond it colder than ever, the smell of blood and burned flesh choking me. The hallway's a nightmare, the claw marks glowing under my flashlight, the handprints smaller now, like they're shrinking into nothing. I hear the footsteps again, closer this time, and the whispering, that guttural hum that makes my bones ache. Room 325's door is ajar, a faint glow spilling out, not from my flashlight but from something inside. I push it open, and he's there, standing in the center, his blurred face turned toward me. The scalpel's dripping, the black ooze pooling into shapes that scream and writhe. The shadows are everywhere, their mouths gaping, their fingers clawing at the bed. The tall thing's behind him, its void face splitting open, and I see something new. Eyes, hundreds of them, blinking in the dark, staring at me. I raise my knife, my voice gone, my body shaking. "Stop," I whisper, but it's nothing, just air. The figure steps forward and the room shakes, the walls cracking, the floor buckling. The shadows scream, a sound that tears through my head, and the tall thing's eyes lock onto mine, pulling me in. I don't know if I'm going to make it out of this room. I don't know if I'm already dead. The intercom crackles and the voice laughs, low and cruel. Code Blue, room 326. The intercom's laugh lingers, that cruel Code Blue, room 326, twisting in my ears like a blade. My flashlight's beam shakes in my hand, cutting through the dark of room 325, where the figure in scrubs stands, his blurred face fixed on me. The scalpel drips black ooze, forming writhing shapes on the floor, faces, hands, mouths that scream without sound. The shadows are alive, their eyeless forms clawing at the walls, their limbs snapping like broken branches. The tall thing looms behind him, its void face now a mass of blinking eyes, hundreds of them staring into me, through me, like they're peeling back my skin. The air's so thick with the stench of blood and charred flesh I can barely breathe, and the walls pulse, cracked plaster bleeding something dark and viscous. I'm frozen, my knife raised but useless, my voice gone. The figure steps closer, his scalpel glinting, and the tall thing's eyes blink in unison, a wave of nausea hitting me so hard I nearly drop my flashlight. The shadows surge, their fingers sinking into the bed, tearing at the blood-soaked mattress like it's flesh. I want to run, to scream, but my body's locked, my feet rooted to the floor. The intercom crackles again, the voice sharper now, almost gleeful. Code Blue, room 326. It's not just a call, it's a promise. The figure tilts his head, and for a moment, I see him clearly. Dr. Carter, or what's left of him. His face is a burned ruin, skin blackened and split, eyes sunken into pits that weep something dark. His mouth moves, whispering Code Blue like a mantra, and the scalpel twitches, the black ooze dripping faster, forming a puddle that crawls toward me. The tall thing's eyes pulse, and I feel them inside my head, digging, pulling at memories I didn't know I had. Flashes of fire, screams, locked doors. I stagger back, my flashlight flickering, and the room shakes, the walls groaning like they're alive. I don't know how I break free, but my legs move, carrying me out of room 325, my boots slipping on the blood-slick floor. The hallway's a nightmare, the claw marks glowing under my flashlight, the childlike handprints shrinking into the walls, some still wet, glistening like they were just made. The footsteps follow me, slow and deliberate, and the whispering's louder now, a chorus of voices that aren't human, aren't anything I can understand. I reach the steel door, still open, the broken chain mocking me as I slam it shut and fumble with the useless padlock. My hands are shaking so bad I drop my knife, and I don't stop to pick it up. I just run. The control room's my only refuge, but it feels like a trap as I lock the door behind me, my chest heaving, my lungs burning with that rancid air. The monitors flicker, their gray light casting shadows that move when I'm not looking. The feed for room 325 is static, but I switch to room 326, and he's there, gliding into the doorway, his scalpel raised. The shadows are thicker, their forms almost solid, their mouths gaping so wide they split their faces. The tall thing's behind him, its eyes blinking faster, and I see something new. A shape in the corner, curled up, trembling. It's alive. It's someone. I squint at the monitor. My heart's sinking. It's Emily, the last night shift nurse. The one who started a week ago and still smiled like she didn't know how bad this place could get. She's crouched in the corner, her scrubs torn, her face streaked with blood. She's clutching her arm, where something's carved a jagged line, and her eyes are wide, darting like she sees him too. The figure steps closer, his scalpel gleaming, and the shadows move, their fingers reaching for her. I can't hear her, but I know she's screaming. I grab my flashlight and keys, my hands shaking so bad I can barely hold them. I don't have my knife anymore, but it doesn't matter. I can't leave her there. I can't watch another person die while I sit here, safe behind a locked door. I run back to the east wing, the hospital's silence pressing down on me, the halls dark and empty. The steel doors still open, the air beyond it colder than ever, the smell of blood and decay so thick it coats my throat. The claw marks are everywhere now, some so deep they've torn through the plaster, exposing rusted pipes and wires that spark faintly in the dark. I reach room 326, my flashlight shaking as I push the door open. The room's a slaughterhouse, blood pooling on the floor, the bed soaked red. Emily's still in the corner, alive, her eyes locked on the figure in scrubs. He's standing over the bed, his blurred face turned toward her, the scalpel dripping that black ooze. The shadows are circling, their fingers clawing at the air, and the tall thing's there, its eyes blinking, its void face splitting into a grin that's all teeth. Emily sees me, her mouth moving, but no sound comes out. I don't know if it's fear or something else keeping her silent. "Get away from her!" I shout, my voice raw, my flashlight aimed like a weapon. The figure doesn't move, but the tall thing's eyes turn toward me, and I feel them again, digging into my head, pulling up flashes of fire, of Carter's burned face, of patients screaming behind locked doors. I stagger, my vision blurring, but I force myself forward, grabbing Emily's arm and pulling her toward the door. She's limp, her body shaking, her skin cold as ice. The shadows lunge, their fingers grazing my back, and I feel something sharp like nails slicing through my jacket. We make it to the hallway, Emily stumbling beside me, her breath coming in gasps. The footsteps follow, slow and heavy, and the whisperings everywhere, a deafening hum that makes my head throb. The claw marks on the walls are bleeding now, dark streams running down the plaster, and the handprints are gone, replaced by smears that look like faces, screaming. I don't look back. I can't. I drag Emily toward the steel door, her weight slowing me down, her arm bleeding through my fingers. We reach the door and I shove her through, slamming it shut behind us. The lock's useless, but I wedge my flashlight under the handle, hoping it'll hold for a few seconds. Emily's sobbing now, her words incoherent, something about he was there and they're coming. I don't have time to listen. I pull her toward the control room, my heart pounding, the hospital's silence broken only by our footsteps, and that endless whispering following us like a shadow. We make it to the control room, and I lock the door, shoving a chair under the handle for good measure. Emily collapses against the wall, her face pale, her arm bleeding through her torn sleeve. I grab a first aid kit from the desk, my hands shaking as I wrap her wound, but the blood keeps coming, dark and thick, like it's not just hers. She's muttering, her eyes darting to the monitors, and I follow her gaze. The feed for room 326 is still on, and he's there, standing in the doorway, his scalpel raised. The shadows are gone, the tall thing's gone, but there's something new. A shape on the bed, pale and still, its face hidden. I don't want to look closer, but I do, zooming in until I see it. It's me. My face, my body, lying there, my chest carved open, my eyes gone. I blink, and the image changes. It's just the bed now. Empty, blood-soaked but empty. Emily grabs my arm, her nails digging into my skin. "He's coming," she whispers, her voice hoarse. "He's not done." I want to tell her she's wrong, that we're safe here, but I know she's right. The intercom crackles and the voice is back, low and cruel, laughing like it knows something I don't. "Code Blue, room 327. I look at Emily, her eyes wide with terror, and I know we can't stay here. I grab the keys, my flashlight, anything I can use, and pull her to her feet. The monitors flicker, the feed for room 327 showing him now, gliding into the room, his scalpel dripping. The shadows are back, their mouths gaping, and the tall thing's eyes are everywhere, blinking, watching. I don't know where we're going, but we can't stay here. Not with him moving to the next room, the next death. I open the door, and the hallway's dark, the air cold and heavy. The whispering's louder now, and I hear footsteps, slow and deliberate, coming from the east wing. I don't know if we can outrun him, but we have to try. The hallway outside the control room is a black void, the flickering fluorescence barely holding back the dark. Emily's hand is cold in mine, her fingers trembling as I pull her along, her wounded arm leaving a trail of blood that glistens under my flashlight. The whispering follows us, a low, guttural hum that pulses in my skull, blending with the slow, deliberate footsteps echoing from the east wing. The intercom crackles overhead, that cruel voice slicing through the silence. "Code Blue, room 327. It's not just a call anymore, it's a taunt, a promise that he's waiting, that he's always one step ahead. I don't know where we're going, only that we can't stay still. Emily's breath is ragged, her eyes darting to every shadow, her body shaking like she's on the verge of collapse. The hospital feels alive, the walls breathing, the air thick with the stench of blood and burned flesh. My flashlight cuts through the gloom, catching on the claw marks that scar the corridor, some so fresh they're bleeding, dark rivulets running down the plaster. The childlike handprints are back, smeared across the walls, some so small they could belong to a doll, others distorted, fingers too long, too thin. We pass the steel door to the east wing, still open, the broken chain coiled like a snake on the floor. I don't look inside, but I feel it. The weight of that place, the pull of whatever's waiting in room 327. Emily stumbles, her knees buckling, and I catch her, my arm around her waist, her blood soaking into my sleeve. "Keep moving," I whisper, my voice hoarse, but I don't know if I'm talking to her or myself. The footsteps are closer now, heavy and deliberate, and the whispering's louder, a chorus of voices that aren't human, chanting words I can't understand but feel in my bones. We reach the stairwell, the only place I can think to go. The control room's not safe, the east wing's a death trap, and the main hospital's too quiet, too empty. I push open the door, the hinges screaming, and drag Emily down the stairs, her weight slowing me down. The stairwell's dark, the air colder with every step, and my flashlight flickers, the beam stuttering like it's afraid to keep going. The walls here are marked too, claw marks and handprints, some glowing faintly, like they're lit from within. I hear the footsteps above us now, following, and the intercom buzzes again, even though there's no speaker here. Code blue, room 327. We hit the basement level, the door creaking as I shove it open. The archives are down here, rows of dusty files and forgotten records, the only place I've found answers about the fire, about Carter. I don't know why I'm bringing Emily here, only that it's away from the east wing, away from him. The basement's a maze of shelves and boxes, the air heavy with mold and something sharper like copper. My flashlight sweeps the room, catching on cobwebs and yellowed papers, and I pull Emily behind a shelf, her breathing shallow, her eyes glassy. "Stay here," I whisper, easing her to the floor. Her wounds still bleeding, the bandage I wrapped soaked through, and her face is pale, too pale. I tear off my jacket and press it against her arm, but the blood keeps coming, dark and thick, like it's not just hers. She grabs my wrist, her nails digging in, her voice barely a whisper. "He's not human," she says, her eyes wide. "He's not Carter. It's something else." I want to ask what she means, but the footsteps are here now, echoing in the stairwell, slow and heavy, like he's savoring the chase. The whispering's deafening, a roar of voices that makes my head throb, and I hear something new, a scraping sound, like metal on concrete. I grip my flashlight, my only weapon now, and crouch beside Emily, my heart pounding so hard it hurts. The basement's dark, the shelves casting long shadows that twist and move, and I swear I see those childlike handprints on the walls crawling toward us. The door to the stairwell creaks open, and I hold my breath, my flashlight off, the darkness swallowing us. The footsteps stop, and the air shifts, colder, heavier, like something standing just beyond the shelf. I hear the drip of that black ooze, each drop hitting the floor with a wet splat, and I know he's here. Emily's trembling, her hand clutching mine, and I can feel her pulse, weak and erratic. The whispering stops, and the silence is worse, a void that presses against my chest. Then I see him. Not clearly, not like in the rooms, but a shape in the dark, tall and blurred, his scrubs too clean for this filthy place. The scalpel glints, dripping that ooze. And behind him, the tall thing's there, its void face pulsing with those blinking eyes, hundreds of them, staring. The shadows are with him, their eyeless faces turned toward us, their mouths gaping, stretching wider than should be possible. I don't move, don't breathe, but I feel them, their presence like a weight crushing me. He steps closer, and the floor creaks, the ooze spreading, forming shapes, hands, faces, eyes that writhe and scream. Emily whimpers, and I clamp my hand over her mouth, my own heart hammering so loud I'm sure he hears it. The tall thing's eyes blink, and I feel them again, digging into my mind, pulling up flashes of fire, of Carter's burned face, of patients clawing at locked doors as the flames took them. I bite my lip to keep from screaming, the taste of blood sharp on my tongue. He stops, his blurred face tilting, like he's listening. The scalpel twitches, and the shadows move, their fingers reaching for the shelf, their nails scraping the wood. I don't know what they want, what he wants, but I know we're next. Room 327's waiting, and Emily's too weak to run. I think about the files, about Carter's scalpel, unmarred by the fire, about the nurse's note warning of his madness. I think about the patients, trapped, burning, their screams echoing in my head. The intercom crackles, the voice louder now, laughing. Code Blue, room 327. It's coming from nowhere, everywhere, vibrating in my bones. The figure steps closer, and I see his face again. Carter's face, burned and split, his eyes weeping black. The tall thing's eyes pulse and the shadows lunge, their fingers grazing the shelf inches from us. I grab a box of files and throw it, papers scattering, and the shadows scream, a sound that tears through my head. I pull Emily to her feet, her body limp, and run deeper into the basement, my flashlight flickering, the dark closing in. We stumble through the maze of shelves, the footsteps following, the whispering a roar now, the scraping louder like he's dragging the scalpel across the walls. I find a door, rusted and heavy, and shove it open, pulling Emily inside. It's a storage room filled with old medical equipment. Gurneys, IV stands, a broken ventilator covered in dust. I lock the door, my hands shaking, and wedge a gurney against it, knowing it won't hold for long. Emily's barely conscious, her breathing shallow, her blood pooling on the floor. I tear strips from my shirt to bind her wound, but it's no use. The blood's too dark, too thick, like it's alive. She grabs my arm, her eyes wild. "It's not Carter," she whispers. "It's using him. It's always been here." The door rattles, a slow, deliberate knock that shakes the walls. The whispering's inside now, in my head, in my chest, and I hear the drip of that ooze seeping under the door. My flashlight flickers, and I see them. Handprints, small and bloody, crawling up the walls, the shadows pressing against the door, their mouths gaping. The tall thing's eyes are everywhere, blinking in the dark, and I know we're trapped. The intercom buzzes, the voice a scream now, laughing, mocking. "Code Blue, room 328. I don't know how we'll get out, how we'll survive. Emily's slipping away, her eyes fluttering, and the door shakes, the gurney creaking. I grab a rusted IV stand, my hands shaking, ready to fight, to die, anything but let him take us. The shadows scream, the eyes blink, and the door starts to give. The door to the storage room groans under the weight of something pressing against it. The rusted gurney I wedge there trembling, as the knocks grow louder, slower, deliberate like a heartbeat. Emily's slumped against the wall, her breathing shallow, her blood pooling on the concrete floor, dark and thick, moving like it's alive. The whispering's everywhere now, a deafening roar of voices that claw at my mind, and the intercom crackles, that cruel, laughing voice screaming, "Code Blue, room 328. My flashlight flickers, its beam catching on the childlike handprints crawling up the walls, some so fresh they drip red. The shadows are at the door, their eyeless faces pressed against the crack, their gaping mouths stretching, screaming without sound. The tall thing's eyes blink in the dark, hundreds of them, pulsing like a storm, and I know we're out of time. I grip the rusted IV stand, its cold metal biting into my palms, my only weapon against whatever's coming. Emily's eyes flutter, her voice a faint rasp. "It's not Carter," she whispers again, her words slurring. "It's older. It's always been here." Her hand falls limp, her blood soaking into my torn shirt, and I don't know if she's still with me. The door shakes, the gurney sliding an inch, and I hear the drip of that black ooze seeping under the frame, forming shapes, fingers, eyes, mouths that writhe and scream. I swing the IV stand at the door, a desperate, useless act, the metal clanging against the rusted hinges. The shadows scream, a sound that rips through my skull, and the tall thing's eyes blink faster, their gaze burning into me, pulling up flashes of fire, of Carter's burned face, of patients clawing at locked doors as the flames consumed them. I see it now, clearer than ever. Not just Carter, but something else, something ancient, wearing his scrubs like a mask, feeding on the deaths, the fear, the blood. It's not trapped here. It's chosen this place, this wing, this hospital, and we're just its prey. The door buckles, wood splintering, and I drag Emily's limp body behind a stack of crates, her blood leaving a slick trail. The air's so cold it burns, the stench of decay and burned flesh choking me. My flashlight dies, plunging us into darkness, and I fumble for my phone. its weak glow barely cutting through the black. The shadows are inside now, their twisted limbs crawling across the floor, their mouths gaping, teeth glinting like needles. The tall thing's here too, its void face splitting open, eyes blinking, teeth grinning, and the figure in scrubs steps through the shattered door, his scalpel dripping, the black ooze pooling into shapes that scream my name. I swing the IV stand again, hitting nothing but air, and the shadows lunge, their fingers grazing my legs, sharp as razors. Pain sears through me, hot and wet, and I feel blood running down my shin. Emily's not moving, her body still, and I don't know if she's dead or just gone, her eyes staring at nothing. The figure steps closer, his blurred face clearer now, Carter's burned ruin, his eyes weeping black, his mouth moving, whispering code blue like a prayer. The tall thing's behind him, its eyes everywhere, and I feel them inside me, tearing at my thoughts, my memories, my fear. I crawl backward, my hands slipping in Emily's blood, the crate's no protection at all. The shadows are everywhere, their fingers sinking into the floor, the walls, the air itself. And the ooze is spreading, crawling toward me, its tiny faces screaming, reaching. I think about the fire, the patients, the nurse's note, Carter's scalpel unmarred by the flames. I think about the handprints, the claw marks, the thing that's not Carter, but something older. Something that's been here since the hospital was built, maybe before. It's not just killing us. It's feeding, growing. And I'm the last one left. The intercom screams again. Code blue, room 328. And I realize we're not in room 328. We're in the basement, far from the east wing, but it doesn't matter. The rooms, the calls, they're just a game, a ritual, and it's playing with me now, drawing it out. The figure steps closer, his scalpel raised, and the tall thing's eyes blink, its grin widening. I grab a crate, throwing it with all my strength, and it crashes against the figure, papers and medical supplies scattering. The shadows scream, the ooze recoils, and for a moment the figure pauses, his head tilting like he's surprised. I don't wait. I grab Emily's body, dragging her toward the back of the room, searching for another way out. There's a vent, rusted and narrow, but it's all I've got. I pry it open, my fingers bleeding, and shove Emily's limp form inside, crawling after her. The vent's tight, the metal sharp, cutting into my arms, my legs, but I keep moving, the whispering following, the footsteps echoing behind me. The ooze seeps into the vent, its tiny faces screaming, and I feel the shadows clawing at my back, their nails tearing through my shirt. We tumble out into another hallway, dark and cold, the air thick with that sour, rotting smell. Emily's not breathing now, her body still, her blood pooling beneath her. I check her pulse, my hands shaking, but there's nothing. She's gone. I want to scream, to cry, but there's no time. The footsteps are here, the whispering deafening, and the intercom crackles, the voice laughing. Code blue, room 328. I run, leaving Emily behind, my heart breaking but my legs moving. The hallway's endless, the claw marks glowing, the handprints crawling, and I hear him behind me, his scalpel scraping the walls. I don't know where I'm going, only that I can't stop. I find another door, heavy and rusted, and shove it open, stumbling into what looks like an old operating room, the table rusted, the walls stained with blood. My phone's light catches on something. A file, lying open on the floor, pages yellowed and brittle. I grab it, my hands shaking, and see Carter's name, his photo, his face unburned, smiling. There's a note, scrawled in the margins, not the nurse's handwriting, but something jagged, like it was written in a hurry. It's not me. It's the thing in the walls. It wants the blood. The words hit me like a punch, and I realized Carter wasn't mad. He was trying to warn them, trying to stop it, but he couldn't. Nobody could. The door slams shut behind me and I spin around, my phone's light catching the figure in scrubs, his scalpel raised, the ooze dripping. The tall thing's with him, its eyes blinking, its grin splitting wider, and the shadows are everywhere, their mouths gaping, their fingers clawing. I back against the operating table, nowhere left to run, and I know this is it. Room 328 isn't a room, it's me, wherever I am, wherever I go. I swing my phone, the light flickering, and scream, "What do you want?" The figure doesn't answer, but his burned face splits into a smile, his eyes weeping black. The tall thing's eyes pulse, and I feel them inside me, tearing at my soul. The shadows lunge, their fingers sinking into my arms, my legs, and I feel the pain, sharp and hot, blood running down my skin. The ooze crawls up my boots, its tiny faces screaming, and I swing the file, the pages scattering, but it's nothing. Just paper against a god. The scalpel comes down, and I feel it, cold and sharp, slicing into my chest. The pain's blinding, my vision swimming, but I don't fall. I can't. I see the fire now, the patients, Carter, all of them trapped in this place, feeding it, fueling it. The tall thing's eyes blink, and I understand. It's not Carter, not the shadows, not the ooze. It's the hospital itself, the thing in the walls, the thing that's always been here, hungry for blood, for fear, for souls. I collapse, the scalpel still in me, my blood mixing with the ooze. The shadows screaming, the tall thing's grin widening. The intercom laughs. Code blue. And I know it's not for a room anymore. It's for me. My vision fades. The eyes blinking, the voices roaring, and I feel myself slipping, falling into the dark, into the walls, into the thing that's been waiting all along. The last thing I hear is the intercom, soft now, almost gentle. Code blue. And then nothing. Thank you for listening. Hope I didn't scare you too much. If you like my stories, please consider giving me a like and subscribe. See you next time.